Hey guys, I'm not feeling so good. I'm actually feeling kinda sick right now.
Sick of videos that don't have Camaros?
I got a fever. And the only prescription is more
Camaro.
God bless America. 1969 Yenko Camaro. And a lot of people argue that these 69 Yenko Camaros can't be used in factory stock because
you couldn't order that car from the factory. Duh.
What are you, a Mustang owner? Yeah, you could order this car from the factory in 1969. Notice I didn't ask if you're a Mopar owner because I didn't see you passionately kissing your sister after slamming a couple of Bud Lights while aggressively pooping your pants.
Y'all want f***ing crazy? Y'all want
But back to the Yenko. Yes, you could order everything that this car features yourself directly from the factory if you wanted to. And that's exactly what the Yenko dealership did in 1969, utilizing the COPO system. That's Central Office Production Order. And this was a system used to order specialty vehicles. I mean, think like police cars or cars for fire departments, things like that. But anybody could utilize that if they knew the right person, or perhaps owned their own dealership. So that's what Yenko did in 1969 to the tune of 201 Camaros. That may not sound like a lot, but for one dealership for 1 year to sell over 200 specialty ordered Camaros, that's absolutely nuts. And so what exactly did they order? Well, it started with COPO order number 9561. That got you the absolutely nasty, fire-breathing L72 427 cubic inch big block V8, baby. Ugh, I'm a married man. I mean, I'm not supposed to feel like this about anything outside of my wife.
What is love? Baby, don't hurt me.
Oh, and to the one woman watching, you better not tell my wife about this. Do not ruin this for me. And that 427 came with 4-bolt mains, solid lifters, a forged crank and rods, a high-rise aluminum intake manifold, rectangular port heads. Oh, and the compression ratio from the factory, it's 11:1. In the COPO system, that beast was rated 425 horsepower, 460 pound-feet of torque. But the NHRA stepped in and said, nah, that thing's making 450 horsepower. So in actuality, Yenko did not modify those COPO engines unless otherwise requested by the buyer, and in that case, yeah, you could get plenty of other goodies like different ignition, headers, and whatnot. But they did use those NHRA ratings because on paper, 450 horsepower, oh, that's way more cool than 425 horsepower. But just like me after drinking one beer, Yenko couldn't stop. And every Camaro he ordered also came with front disc brakes, a cowl induction hood, 410 gears that were heat treated for added strength, and also COPO order number 9737, the sports car conversion package. This included heavy duty springs, a larger sway bar, a 140 mile per hour speedometer, and 15x7 rally wheels, which of course, sometimes Yenko would remove those for a different set of wheels, which you might call a rim job. I mean, I think that's what it's called. I've heard that used online. Inside, you'll find a black interior because that is the only color option that Yenko ordered for their COPO Camaros in 1969. You'll also see that this car features a Turbo 400 3-speed automatic, which is one of only 2 transmission options in the Yenko Camaros that year. The other was the M21 4-speed manual. Apparently, they didn't order any with the M22, so sorry, Chevy purists, you're not gonna get that rock crusher, which is also what I call your mom. As I already mentioned, standard gearing would have been 410 from the factory, but this one's had a tasty little upgrade and now features a set of 433 rear gears. And then when it comes to the weight of these Yenko Camaros, keep in mind, these things are big blocks, they're not gonna be super light. This car with the driver sitting in it was 3,696 pounds. These Yenkos, well, they weren't the cheapest car around. Without any additional modifications, you could walk away with one for $4,245 in 1969. That's definitely a little higher than most of the muscle cars we've seen on this channel. But let's say you don't want to pay that premium for a Yenko car and you know a dealership that would work with you and order you a car through the COPO system, oh, you could get one of these a lot cheaper. If you place the order for the 427 and the sports car conversion package, you could pick up one of these cars for $3,800, which give or take is about $500 cheaper than the Yenko. And some dealerships like Berger were known for doing this. I see you, Grand Rapids. Shout out furniture capital of the US. Wow, sounds like super exciting there. Of the 201 Yenko Camaros from 1969, only 30 featured an automatic transmission like our featured car. Superstock and Drag Illustrated tested a Yenko Camaro in July of 1969, and with a set of headers, they got that thing down to 1259 at 108 miles per hour. So is this Yenko going to bring enough to the table to take down possibly the nastiest Camaro of all time and be the hero that we've all wanted?
We can be heroes.
1969 Chevrolet Camaro ZL1. And the 1969 ZL1 is one of the most aggressive Camaros produced and also one of the most rare. They only made 69 of these beasts, so if you wanted to buy one at that time, you pretty much had to know somebody on the inside. But what makes these cars so special? Well, they came with the F41 suspension, a cowl hood, a 5-leaf rear, a Holley 850 double pumper would have been standard, but because of supply issues, most came with a Holley 780, a heavy-duty radiator, and they were all radio delete. The engine itself is a 427 that's somewhat reminiscent of the L88 from the Corvette, though it does have a more aggressive cam. Not to mention, it's made entirely of aluminum. Yeah, that's what makes this car special. It has an aluminum block, aluminum cylinder heads, aluminum intake manifold. Think about how many cans of Bud Light you could make out of that engine. That's enough to even keep the most belligerent Chevrolet fan happy for a week or two. Oh, shoot. I forgot that they prefer wine coolers. That's right. My bad. I gotta go get some wine coolers. Oh! And then the ZL1 engine from the factory came with a compression ratio of 12:1. And what do you think Chevrolet rated this one? Keep in mind, the other 427 in the Yenko was rated 425 horsepower. The ZL1 has a much more aggressive cam and a compression ratio that's way higher at 12:1. And with that, Chevrolet said it's 430 horsepower. Original testing shows that it was probably more like 500 horsepower, but if you ask a Chevrolet guy, sky's the limit. Could be 1,000, maybe 2,000 horsepower. I mean, if you ever want to see exaggeration, just ask a Chevy guy how long 10 inches is. And then, interestingly, they rated the torque at less than the L72 427. The ZL1, they said, makes 450. But again, the testing around that time shows probably like 550. Inside, again, you'll find that this is a radio delete, and it's got a 3-speed automatic transmission, and you know it's that Turbo 400, and of course, a 4-speed manual was available. Out back, this one has the factory 410 gears, and just like the Yenko, the ring and pinion have been heat treated for added strength. And you might be thinking that that aluminum engine probably saves a ton of weight, and yeah, a decent amount, but maybe not as much as you would expect. Original reports state that the ZL1 engine weighed about 500 pounds, where a standard iron big block was going to be more like 650. So that's about 150 pounds difference, or what I would term a half unit of your mom. But that is 150 pounds off the front of the car, which definitely helps with weight distribution. But this thing with the driver sitting in it weighed 3,660 pounds, so only a slight advantage over the Yenko. And then we get to the really interesting facts on this car, the price. The base Camaro that year was about $2,700, and then you get your automatic transmission and posi rear and power front disc brakes. You'd be just over $3,000. The ZL1 option was $4,160. That option alone was more expensive than almost every muscle car of that era. It gives you a grand total of $7,217, and that might be the most expensive muscle car that we've ever featured on the channel. High Performance Cars magazine tested a ZL1 in August of 1969, and with all of its emissions equipment, its stock exhaust, and E70 tires, it ran 1316 at 110 miles per hour, obviously very limited by traction issues. But Superstock magazine had also grabbed one of these. They threw on a set of open headers and 6.5-inch slicks, and it ran 1164 at 122 miles per hour. So to the one woman who's watching, you better not be saying that 6.5 inches isn't adequate. So be gone, size queen. Am I right, my bros?
1969 Camaro ZL1. That means all aluminum 427 with an automatic turbo 400. He's going up against go through an 1199 with a 9 at 117. You'll lose iron block car. Also turbo.
In the first round, it's the ZL1 that takes home the win, running an 1199 at 117 miles per hour. But that Yenko definitely kept it interesting, so let's see what happens in round 2.
27, turbo 400. Up against Jeff Morgan, 69 Camaro, also 427. However, this is the ZL1 model, all aluminum. The wind does go to the aluminum.
In the second round, it's again the ZL1 that takes home the win in the best of 3 title, running 11.90 at 118 miles per hour. But could you get any closer? That Yenko ran 11.91 at 118 miles per hour. Huge thanks to the owners for bringing out these cars. They are exceptionally rare and awesome. And come on, you guys, we're on that road to 100,000 subscribers, so make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and I'll see you at the next one.